Welcome back guys to another game review, and today it's Outward. Outward is a confusing game to recommend. I like what it's going for, but it's just a frustratingly hard game to get into. Not necessarily because of skill, but rather it's a constant test of the patience. Unless you know what you're doing, you're sinking many hours in just to get into the comfortable place. Even then, it's an absolutely tedious, slow and punishing experience for even the smallest mistakes. When you succeed, it's satisfying but not as much as a typical action game. Note, if you're hesitant about how hardcore or tedious the game might be, play with debug mode on. You can progress yourself when you feel stuck in a loop of discouraged. Lets you focus on the fun and not the tedium. It feels a bit disjointed on its survival and its action RPG aspects. The survival mechanics are rarely abundant at all, and the combat is simple but clunky. It almost feels like you have to stack everything you have, not just engage with a handful of solid core mechanics, empowered by some tools to make combat easier rather than impossible. For example, you can get through most of Souls-like with only health points, dodging, spacing and regular attacks. You never really need crazy stacks or buffs because you're advancing in levels, but you can still keep things interesting with other tools. In Outward, because of the lack of level ups, you need to use everything you can, or else the simplest of enemies can humble you in the blink of an eye. It especially isn't helpful with the just bad combat. It's clunky and slow. Even if you attack first, an enemy can still hit you first, maybe even twice. They will even just constantly dodge away, combining it with an attack screwing and punishing you from assuming an opening. Your skills also regularly miss, wasting your stamina and putting them on a very high cooldown, possibly even getting you killed. Counter-Strike, for example, doesn't stagger. God forbid you get ambushed and didn't buff up a minute before. Even if you did, you'll only increase your chances by a slim margin. Some of these aren't necessarily poor design decisions, but preparation and retrying is lengthy tedium. Food, sleep, potions, spell buffs, weight, durability, farming, trading, resource burns, backtracking, weakness exploding, weather. You can spend your first few hours preparing, set your eyes on a goal, then immediately get humbled by something you couldn't possibly have prepared for, which incredibly source of discouraged progression as you stumble around to recover, retreat, or end up in a loop of death. You need gear, you need money. To get either reliably, you need both, otherwise you're getting smacked or chased endlessly by a bandit of creature in the wild, spending more time recovering than actually progressing quests or your build. Once you get over a couple humps, it gradually becomes easier, but don't be mistaken. You will still be dying just as easily as you were hour 1. Speaking of builds, they're obnoxious to even begin. You can be kept out with certain skills that make a build playable, or at least easier, particularly stacking with one playstyle until you save out the silver for hours of progress. You can grind level ups and invest into what you need. Well, you can, but you're getting drops worth 1 silver, spending a minute killing a handful of enemies. The quests also don't really push you into the right directions to greatly prepare you, so you gotta either rely on the guide or suffer constant trial and error. If you don't read up on the game, you'll find yourself at a huge disadvantage, especially if you're hours deep into playthrough, such as the limited breakthrough points or timed quests. Thank you guys for watching this review and see you in the next video.